Hello everyone, and welcome to Before the Future Came, a Star Trek podcast. I'm Gregory Avery-Weir, and this is just a little programming note if you're new to the podcast, or if you have been waiting until we talk about Star Trek. Because the way things went, we planned a Star Trek podcast, we did a rehearsal, we recorded a first episode, and then the Hollywood producers refused to come to the table for the writers and the actors, and there was a big strike, and in solidarity we didn't do Star Trek stuff, and so we've been doing non-Star Trek things for several months. But now we're back to Star Trek. So the first episode that you're going to hear next in the feed is for First Contact. That was recorded first out of all the stuff that we've done, so you might notice that we haven't quite hit our groove. Segments might be a little off in length. Audio quality is not quite as good as it is later on. But that is the place that I would recommend you start if you're just listening to this for, hey, where do I go? Start with First Contact. You do not need to watch what we are talking about. We do I think, a pretty decent summary at the beginning, and we try to assume that you're not familiar with every corner of Star Trek like we are. But if you do want to watch Star Trek, and you want to do it legitimately, one easy way is to get the episodes on the Paramount Plus streaming platform, or you can buy it digitally, basically anywhere. We'll mention if we do a Star Trek thing that's harder to find, but Star Trek First Contact, the film, should be easy to find, and then the episode that it will be coming out in February will be newly recorded, so that will be up to our current standards. If you are listening to this and you haven't listened to the previous episodes, I recommend checking them out. There are Season 0, and we're discussing utopian science fiction that isn't Star Trek. So we did the excellent novella Binti, we covered the novel The Collapsium, we covered the children's book The Wild Robot, and notably, we did the sci-fi mildly horror story SCP-6001 Avalon, which is available for free at the link in its show description. So if you want a really easy slice of our non-Star Trek discussion, go and watch the SCP-6001 Avalon episode. I think that's a particularly good recording, almost as good as the one that you'll be listening to in February, where we discuss an episode of Star Trek Voyager. That's about it. We would love feedback on this. We haven't done any marketing or anything beyond posting it in a few social media places, so we're still growing our audience. We'd love to know what you think, and if you have someone in your life that you think would enjoy a critical, maybe too far in-depth Star Trek discussion podcast, please share it. And if you don't like the Star Trek that we're discussing in one episode, don't worry, it will be completely different the next episode, because we are not watching in order. We are jumping around to the entirety of the Star Trek canon. You might see official licensed novels, you might see video games, we may, pull a fanfic that is considered especially canonical. So we'll be jumping around to different series and so on, so don't let it turn you off if for one episode we're discussing a section that maybe isn't your favorite, in part because if it's not your favorite, we may not have liked it either. Or, alternately, we may be able to convince you that it's better than you think. So, that all said, thank you so much for listening, and I hope that this has been a little helpful in explaining what the hell is going on with our weird podcast schedule. So hopefully I will talk to you again in just a moment in the first episode of Before the Future Came, First Contact. Our music is Let's Pretend by Josh Woodward and is used under a Creative Commons Attribution 4.0 license. Thank you for listening.